Hello everyone, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and today we're going to do a little bit of work on the dobro with the song Salty Dog Blues. Now if you've been following along the lessons I've been doing so far, a number of weeks ago I did this series on how to find the melody, first the key, then the chords, then the melody to a song by ear. And then once you've got that, I've been talking about how to develop solos based on the melody that you found by ear. How to, just use various techniques and various ideas to build a melody, to build a solo from the melody. So we found the melody to a song in that series. We found the key, we found the chords, we found the melody. And then we did some work on the guitar, and then we did some work on the banjo, and now we're going to take a look at the dobro, and the song is Salty Dog Blues, which has a little bit more complex of a chord progression. And last week we talked about that progression, which is a circle of fifths progression. We talked about what to do if you're trying to figure out the chords to a song and you run into these problems where it's really, it doesn't sound like it's a 4 chord, doesn't sound like it's a 5 chord when you're moving from the 1. And we talked about what the circle of fifths progression was all about, and we talked about how in Salty Dog Blues one of the melody notes that you play at the top of the measure when you change the chord goes against our rule of thumb because it's not a note that's in the chord. And so if you're confused about any of that kind of thing, once you watch this video, you can go back and take a look at those videos, the Learning Music by Ear videos, and the video last week on the circle of fifths chord progression, and hopefully that will clear things up for you a little bit. So right now we're just going to start with the melody of Salty Dog Blues, and then I'll put up some ideas about how I would think about taking a solo to this song. Okay, so the melody goes in the key of G. Standing on the corner with the low down blues, great big hole in the bottom of my shoes. Honey, let me be your salty dog. Okay, so it starts on a B note, da 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 da, goes up to a C note, da, right back to a B, da da, then to A, da 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 da, B back to A, and then it goes to a D. Honey, let me back to B, be your salty dog. Goes B, B, A, G. Okay, so we're just working with G, A, B, D. Those are the simple notes, and we got that one C note, and then a lot of repeat. Da 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 da. That's all just on that B note, and then up to the C, and then back to the B, then to the A, B, back to A, then going to the D, then the B, A, G. So very straightforward, simple melody. So it gives us a lot of leeway and a lot of room to do some cool stuff. Okay. Now the interesting thing about the dobro, for the guys that play the dobro know this, is that you can kind of do a lot of fake it till you make it type stuff on the dobro, because Tim May and I give improvisation workshops for all musical instruments quite often, and one of the things that we put out there, no matter what instrument you're playing on, if you don't know what to play, the default is always in the chord. Tim likes to say the answer is in the chord. So if you're confused about where you need to go, just play a note from that chord. And on the dobro, that's very easy because you can just put your bar on that chord and play a roll, and you can get away with that. Again, it's sort of what we call a fake it till you make it kind of situation. You might not have much melody in there, but it's not going to sound terrible, okay? If I was going to approach this song, the first thing I do is take that melody and just add in some simple rolls, some simple rolls and some simple slides into my melody notes. That's sort of the dobro is all about, the slides, and all about rolling arpeggios, rolling across the chords, and introducing slides in the middle of all that. So I'm going to just go with something very basic and easy. I'm going to slide into that E note and just do a roll. Slide into that B note over the G chord and do a roll. And then I get that C note, I'm going to go up there and grab it and go back to B. And again, I'll hit that that B note and maybe a drone on the open D there. Okay, so again, I'm going to slide in. And then that we're going to our A note and our A chord. I might slide into that. I'm just doing a simple roll, okay? And what I would like to say about just rolling over the chord is, if you don't know the melody, or like this melody just stays on that A, so you want to add some other notes in there with your roll, the one thing to think about is try to time your roll, the notes of your roll, such that it kind of fits the phrasing of the song. You know, this song, da 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 da, it's got this specific phrasing that's happening, and if you can kind of fit your roll around that phrasing, it'll sound more like the song than just doing a straightforward roll or some memorized roll over top of the chord. So again, I'm going to go. I'm going to just go to that D note. Hit that D note open too. Something like that. So I hit that D note open. And then again, end on that slide. And so, end on that slide to the G and roll. Again, I'm rolling across the G chord. Beyond that, again, you're going to think about your different positions up and down the neck for your different chords, and you can throw some cool stuff in with that. I might throw a little introduction thing in, like a little lead in going. So I did a couple different things there that were just slightly different than I did before. When I went to that C note, I just kind of went a whoop, like that. I said. So, went up to it and came off it. And you want to put your finger down to mute that buzzing there at the end, like that. And then back to the B note. And then I slid here. You know, standard kind of dobro lick over any kind of chord that you're holding, like that. And then I slid up to that G. So that's one way to think about it. Let's look at some other options. Okay, so the first thing to think about is maybe instead of going to this D note here, we go all the way up to our D position here at the 7th fret. So we might go. I started out the same way, and then when I got to the A, I slid all the way up to my D. And then from there, to get back to G, I did a sort of a run that I like to do when we're going from the 5 chord back to the 1 chord. Or you could go. So that was, you got the 5th fret, and then you're hitting the E note at the 2nd fret. And I'm going open D, B, then sliding from B to A on the 3rd string, and then ending with that slide to the 5th fret of the 4th string, and then the roll. And that's just sort of a standard dobro ending lick. But that's one way you can get back if you're at the D chord here with any kind of roll. And then and go to N to get back to G, like so. So that's one thing. You can go up to this D position after you're at the A. You can also start on the same G chord roll. And your next chord is an E, so you can go all the way up to 9. So, right? And then from there you could go up to your A high. Something like that, right? Like so. Then go to your D. And then go to your G up here. Some kind of lick up there. Any kind of ending thing in the G here. So that, in that point I started with my G here. And then I went up to my E. And then went up to my A. And then to my D. And then G. Any kind of G thing to end. Lots of possibilities at that point. Okay, that's just some other ideas to think about. One of the cool ways that Josh Graves has played this in the past is to do this, what they call the hound dog bark, right? Like that. And he kind of slides up on this fit 6 string. I'm going to slide up, but I'm going to rake across all those strings and then mute that with the fingers in my hand. Like so, okay? And then what he does is, and then a backward roll in the E. So it's, and then he goes up high to the A. Not exactly what he does, but you get the idea. You just need to go up to the A and do a bit of a lick there. And then he goes again to the D like we did last time. Any kind of thing on the G. And that's not exactly what he does on the D or the G, but you get the idea. So that he's starting up at the 12th fret with that little. Okay, so that's another way to look at it. And again, you know, it's a very straightforward song. You could kind of go to your chord positions and do little rolls and little techniques and slides and a lot of different things you can do on this song. But what I would recommend, again, is trying to get the feel of the phrasing and the dynamics of the way the vocalist is delivering the song. And then when you start doing your rolls and you start doing your slides in your chord positions, kind of mimic the way you hear that. It's been studied and it's been discovered that it's way easier and faster for your ear to pick up the dynamics of the phrasing than it is the exact melody note. So again, that's why we call fake it till you make it, is because if you hear a song go around at a jam session, you know the chord progression and you can kind of hear that phrasing, even if you haven't picked up the melody yet. If you go to your chord positions and phrase your licks that you're doing, your slides and your roll, the content of your roll and where you put your slides in, if you do that the way you're hearing that phrasing in your brain, then that'll help you sound more like the song, even if you don't have a lot of melodic content in there. And if you look at Josh Graves's awesome, cool solo, you know, there's not a whole lot of melody in there, but it's just an awesome solo. I mean, you know, how can you do any better? It's just that little bark at the beginning and just this real simple backward roll over the E chord. All that stuff is just great. And then he's just, from the E's, just going up to the A here at the 14th fret. He's going back to the D in the 7th fret, and he's going back to the G here. And, you know, try all that stuff. You can do the same thing. You could start it the same way, and then when you get to the A and you get to the D, go back, you know, you can end it back there, get ready for the next round. A lot of times, what I'm showing you now is just one time through, And most of the solos, if you listen to this Flatt and Scruggs version, each soloist does it twice. And Josh kind of does pretty much the same thing both times. But anyway, that's my take on Salty Dog Blues on the Dobro. I hope you guys get something out of that, and enjoy. This is Dan Miller from Bluegrass Unlimited Magazine. Thanks for watching.